Hello, Holy Cross. Today I will be teaching you how to change a tire. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open my trunk up and get the spare tire and the tools. It's important to have everything you need laid out and ready to go before you start changing. Untwisting the tire here, and then I'm going to take it out and put it in my front left, which is hypothetically where my flat would be. So these are the tools I have. Up to the left is the tire iron. That metal thing in the middle is the jack, and the hook thing is the jack hook, which I will use to jack up my car. Before I start anything, it is important to make sure my car is in park, and I put some sort of stability on the back tires to make sure my car doesn't roll away while I'm changing. I have these tire blocks, but any log or big object to stop the car from rolling will work. Now that we have everything ready to go, it is time to loosen the lug nuts on the tire. The lug nuts are the bolts that keep the tire in place. Take the tire iron and apply a little bit of pressure in a counterclockwise direction just to loosen the lug nuts a bit. The goal of this is to make sure it's easy enough to unscrew the lug nuts after we jack the car up. This shot is located under my car where the jack reinforcement plate is. It is designed to offer a spot where I can safely jack up my car without breaking anything. Now that I have my jack, you'll notice I'm aligning the top of the jack where it pushes up on the car with that reinforcement. I'm going to use the side knob to twist the jack just high enough so it can slide under the car easily, but not that I have to continually jack up under the car. So I'm turning it up. As soon as it makes contact, I'm going to stop. Now that my jack is in the right place, I'm going to take my jack hook and I'm going to take my tire iron. I'm going to take my jack hook and place it in between the two holes in the jack, as you can see I'm doing now, and in my tire iron, put it through the hole so I can able to turn it without any problems. I'm turning in a clockwise direction. My jack is slowly but surely rising up and lifting that front left portion of my car off the ground. The goal of the jack is to get my tire just a little bit off the ground so I'm able to unscrew the lug nuts and take the tire off and apply my spare. As you can see, there's just a little bit of space, and that's exactly what we want. Since we loosened the lug nuts earlier, we're able to just use our hand and take each lug nut off individually. Make sure you keep them in a safe spot. I'm just putting them on the ground beside me. But as you get to that last lug nut, be sure to have your hand on the tire so it doesn't completely fall off. Sometimes you may need to grab your tire iron if it needs a little bit of extra force. I'm just holding my hand on the tire, and then I lift to take it off, take the tire completely off and set it to the side. It is now time to take the spare tire and put it back on the axle. Place the side of the tire that is sticking outwards on the outside of the car. Lift up the tire and line it up with the lug nut holes on the tire and the places where the tire can fit through. You're going to have to push it on and keep holding your hand until you can take one of the lug nuts and start spinning it in clockwise to retighten those lug nuts onto the new tire. Once you get one or two, you can slowly start applying less force with your other hand, but try to tighten those lug nuts as tight as you can, making it easier to tighten after we jack down the car. Final few steps now. We're going to jack the car back down to the ground. So insert the tire hook into the end of the jack and place the whole of the tire iron into the tire hook and rotate counterclockwise all the way until the car rests stably on the ground and you can remove the jack. As you can see, it starts to wobble, and I know I am done jacking the car down and I can just remove it by hand. Although we tighten each lug nut with our hands, it is still not safe enough to drive with, so we're going to take our tire iron and re-tighten them. Attach the tire iron to one of the lug nuts and apply full force in a clockwise direction, aka right, so we can get them as tight as we possibly can. Another important thing to note is that when I tighten them, am going in a star pattern. There are 5 lug nuts on a car tire, and I'm going to go in a star pattern so I tighten them evenly and the amount of force within the tire is evenly distributed, making it safer and more attached to the axle. Again, I'm using as much force as I possibly can to get them as tight as possible. It's a good thing to go back over after you finish that star pattern to make sure they're as tight as you possibly can get them. Your tire change is now complete. Carefully pack up all the essential tools you need in the correct way and put them back in the trunk. You might also need to grab the flat tire so you can take it home and dispose of it. Make sure everything is cleaned up properly. As well, make sure you grab those tire blocks that you use to stabilize your car. Thank you for listening, Holy Cross, and I hope you learned how to change a spare tire.